afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining me for this presentation on the work experience at the College of Law. My name's Glenn Swain. I'm the Manager of Student Services, and my team looks after work experience, so the approval process. So we're just going to go through a few slides today and give you some information on work experience. If you have any questions throughout the slides, if you could just put that in the chat and I'll answer those questions afterwards, and there will be a Q&A section afterwards as well if you want to ask any questions during that time. So let's start. So I know that you've just had a session on the practical legal training program, and they may have covered this off a little bit. So there's three components of the PLT course. There's the coursework component, which is the course that you enroll in and the work that you do in that course. There's work experience, and there's continuing professional education, which is 10 units of continuing professional education that students are required to do. But we're going to focus on work experience at the moment and what you need to do to satisfy that requirement in your PLT course. So the work experience options that students have, there is three. There is 0 days work experience, which is an additional 8-week online program, which we call the in practice component. There is 15 days of work experience with an additional 6-week online program, which we call the clinical experience module. And then there's just 75 days of work experience, which is just 75 days in a work placement. In WA, it's a little different. For the middle option, they require 25 days of work experience, and it's an additional 5-week online program. So examples of work experience. So what do we usually get from students when they go for work experience? So a lot of the work experience that we receive are summer clerkships, paralegal work, volunteering at a community legal centre, placements with legal aid, in-house lawyers in organisations, tax or legal divisions of a chartered accountant, government policy and planning, judges associates or tip staff, assisting barristers in chambers, working in government or semi-government departments and assisting tribunal members. So the work that you do in a work experience placement needs to be work of a legal nature. And what we ask our students to cover or to be exposed to during their work experience placements is to have contacts with clients, drafting documents, doing some legal research in that placement, and exposure to a file management system. So they're just very basic points that we ask our students to have exposure to in the work placement. And in most work experience placements, you should have that sort of exposure quite easily. So what is the timing on the work experience? Obviously for 0 days, you don't need to worry about the timing, but if you're doing the 15-day option with the extra coursework, you must do that 15 days during your PLT course. So you need to have enrolled in the course and started it. So you do your 15 days either during, after the PLT program. So you've got 2 years to complete that 15 days from when you start your PLT program. If you're doing the 75-day option, the extra 60 days that you have to do, you can do before. You can claim any work experience that you've done up to 2 years to the start of your PLT program. You can also do that during your coursework or after your PLT has completed, and you've got 2 years afterwards to get those 60 days as well. In WA, it's a little different for the middle option. So they require you to do 25 days of work experience during or after the coursework to do the clinical experience module. So just to give you a different diagram on that, so the 15 days work experience needs to happen either once you've after you've begun the PLT course. You can do it after you've completed it, and you've got 2 years after you've completed it to get that 15 days of work experience. The extra 60 days can be done 2 years prior to the start of your PLT course, during it, or 2 years after your PLT course is completed. So with the work experience, there is some minimums that you need to achieve for the work experience option. So if you're doing the 15 days, which is the 15 days that's required either during or after, it has to be undertaken at a minimum of 2 days per week. So you need to find a placement that will give you at least 2 days per week to complete those 15 days. Just also note that if you're in a full-time course, you can only claim a maximum of 2 days per week for work experience during your coursework. You can claim up to 5 days after your coursework's finished, but during the coursework, you can only claim 2 days per week. And if you're doing the 15 days, then it's a minimum of 2 days per week as well. If you're doing the 75 days, the remaining 60 days can be done at 1 day per week. Those 2 days and 1 day per week can be made up of half days, and we calculate a half day at 4 hours for working hours, and a full day as 7 working hours. Okay, you can only claim 1 full day in a 24-hour period. So if you work 1 day of 14 hours, you can't claim that as 2 days. You can only claim 1 day per 24-hour period. So additional fees for these options. So if you're doing the 8-week course, which is the in-practice component, there is an extra $2,000 that you'll be need to pay to enrol in that in-practice component, and that's fee helpable if you are eligible for fee help. If you're doing the clinical experience module, it's an extra $1,530, and again, that can be put on fee help if you're eligible. The 75 days, obviously, because you're not doing any extra coursework, there's no additional fees. Again, in WA, with the 25-day option, it's cheaper because it's the 1 week less, so they charge $1,460, and that is also can be put on fee help. So who can be a work experience supervisor? Your supervisor needs to either be a solicitor with a full practicing certificate, or at least had their restricted practicing certificate for 2 years. They can be a barrister, they can be a judge, they can be a tribunal member. If they're a tribunal member, they need to be a legal practitioner as well. So to get your work experience approved, if you've already done work experience, you can get your work experience approved now. We suggest that you look at the work experience rules online, and I'll show you how to get to those work experience rules after this presentation. I'll go through the website a little bit for you so you know where to get this information. So we suggest that you look at the work experience rules and make yourself familiar with what the rules are. There is also a work experience guide for supervisors. So if your supervisor is a bit unsure of what they can sign off on, you can give them that guide. It gives them just helpful information on work experience and what they should be doing during the work experience placement. And then once you want to get your work experience approved, you need to complete the work experience approval form. And once you've completed the work experience, so you've done your days at the placement and you want to claim them, you need to do a work experience declaration form. Both the work experience approval form and the declaration form need to be signed off by your supervisor. We do expect, we do approve retrospective work experience. So if you've already completed some work experience and it's within that 2-year time period leading up to your PLT course, you can put in an application now. You don't have to be a student to have your work experience approved. And just send it through and we can approve that prior to you starting your PLT course. That is for the people that are doing the 75 days, obviously, and it's for the 60 days extra that they need to do. Work experience can be paid or unpaid. There is a lot of unpaid work experience opportunities out there for students, and we do approve unpaid work experience. So unpaid work can include work trials, volunteer work, work experience and internships. It also includes vocational placements. And this is identified under the Fair Work Act of 2009. It's lawful as long as it is a genuine work experience placement. The college does provide insurance if the unpaid work, the employer for the unpaid work is worried about staff insurance. We will cover that. So if you need a copy of the insurance policy, you just need to email our student support area, which I'll give you the contact details for, and they will send you out a copy of that insurance policy that you can provide to the employer. So just to go through the work experience forms that you need to complete, there's an approval form. Ideally, we would like that submitted prior to the commencement of the placement, but that's not always possible. And as we said before, we do approve work experience that's already been completed. So we require that form. If this is more common now with COVID, if your supervision is remote, so you're not working in the same office as your supervisor, you need to also provide us with a remote supervision diary. And that can be sent in with the approval form. And then the declaration form, which is submitted once the placement has been completed. And then you just need that signed off by your supervisor and claim the amount of days that you've worked. So just to summarize each of them, each of the options. So you need to undertake legal work experience for the 15 days plus clinical experience option and the 75 days option. You can accrue work experience while you're at your university only for the 75 days option, and that's the 60 days that you can accrue. You need to obviously complete additional online coursework for the 0-day option and the 15-day option. You don't for the 75 days. You can put that course on your fee help for both the 8-week course and the 6-week course. Remote supervision is allowed for both the work experience options. Under the 8-week course, you do get mentoring sessions with a legal practitioner as part of that 8-week course. You don't in the 6-week course. And obviously you would have your own mentorship in your work placement for both of those. We also, for all enrolled students in the PLT program, offer 12 months assistance with a career advisor. They will help you with your resumes, with interviewing skills, look at ways to get a job. They're very helpful, and you can book in sessions with them throughout the time that you're enrolled as a student in PLT. Now, these are just some helpful guides. So I'll give you some time just to, if you want to scan those and just get the guides up. If you're in New South Wales, Northern Territory, Queensland, South Australia or Victoria, it's this one, and then the WA students have a separate guide. So I'll just leave that screen up there for a little bit. Okay, and then that pretty much finishes off the session. So if you need to contact us, if you've got any specific questions about your own work experience placement, or any specific questions around your situation, you can email support or give us a call on 1300 856 111, and the staff will be more than welcome to help you. Also, please note that with the work experience rules, if your placement doesn't exactly fit the work experience rules, and there is some that something within your placement that is just outside the rules, you can always make a submission to our work experience committee. They meet 2 times a week, and they will discuss any work experience questions outside of the rules, and they will also look at approvals for extenuating circumstances, hardship, minor non-compliance, things like that. So you just need to make a submission to the work experience committee, and that will also you need to send that through the support at collaw.edu.au website, and that will go to the committee, and they'll consider any submissions that you put through to them. Now, I just want to cover, just go onto the website just before we get into the questions section, and just show you where you can find some extra information about work experience, plus also all the forms, the work experience rules, and things like that. So I'll just get out of this. So this is the College of Law website. So it's www.collaw.edu.au. This has all the information about the college, but specifically around the work experience. To get the forms and the guides and the rules, if you just scroll to the bottom of the first page, you will see here forms and documents. You click on that, you will find the work experience forms and downloads. This will give you the work experience guide for students, for the supervisors, the work experience rules and the rules for WA, the application form, declaration form, remote supervision. There's a work experience journal that students will need to complete for the 15 days. There's the dates the courses are held for the extra coursework, and then some guides for our employees that want to advertise on the website. Also, if you're looking for work experience placements, there is a jobs page on our website, and that lists just work experience jobs that are available at the moment that you can apply for. It's broken down into states, job categories. So employers do go on there and advertise for PLT placements. There's also some resources here. So there's you can upload your resume and leave it for prospective employers to have a look at. There's FAQs on job seeking and the like. So there's that. And then just some information on more detail on the work experience. If you go into the Learn With Us tab and just click on the practical legal training programs, you will get a whole heap of information on practical legal training. What we're looking for is the work experience. So that's the middle icon here. So if you just click on that, that goes into the options, and you can learn more about what's involved in the coursework for the 8-week and the 6-week module. So that will go into more details about each of the courses, your eligibility to enrol, and then the course dates and how to enrol in it. You don't need to enrol in any of these options at the start of your practical legal training. You've got until the end of your course or 15 weeks into the part-time course to make that decision on whether you want to do any of those three options. So it's not something that you need to worry about and make a decision up front when you enroll in the practical legal training. Yeah, so that's all the information that I wanted to show you. I'll just see if I've got any questions here. There's none come up so far, but has anyone got anything that they would like to ask? I suppose we'll see how we go, but okay, so we've got one question. Students often undertake work experience at multiple organisations. Does that work experience for PLT need to be undertaken at one organisation? No, it doesn't. It can be done at, if you're doing the 75-day option, it can be done in up to like 50 or 60 placements. We don't suggest that, but if you do a week here or 2 weeks there, you don't need to have it all in the one placement. You can do it all over the place. So we just need obviously application forms and declaration forms for each of those placements, but you can do it in as many placements as you wish during the course. Any other questions? Okay. Look, what I suggest, if you've got any questions or anything specific to what your own circumstances, I suggest that you contact the student services team, and I'll try and get them. Yep. So their number is 1300 856 111. They will go through, you know, any questions that you have, or if you want to put it in writing, or you want to send through your application forms now, you can just scan them and send them through to support@colaw.edu.au, and they will be assessed. As I said, you don't need to be a student to have your work experience approved. So if you want to send it through prior to enrolling in your PLT course, that's fine. At least you'll know that the work experience that you've done has been added towards your practical legal training. Yeah, so that's good. Let me just see, I've got a few more questions now. So there's a few popped through, so I'll just quickly answer these. Students often want to know whether their work experience can be counted towards their PLT. Can you submit the approval form before state? Yes, you can. So yeah, look, it's probably not a good idea to ring someone to ask and to advise them of your work experience placement over the phone. We do need the forms. We do need to go through our checking processes. So it's probably best that you just fill out the application form and send it through, and we will approve it for you. If you don't want to bother your supervisor with having them sign off on that form before getting the approval, you can send it through the approval form pending the supervisor's signature. We'll approve it in principle, and then you just need to get your supervisor to sign it before we can actually mark it off in the system to say that it's been approved. Okay, so I believe that's it. I hope that's been helpful to you all. Thank you so much for your time, and if you need anything, please call us. Thank you.